Vermont sun and shade. I hope you're having a beautiful morning this morning. Here we are on Thursday, and I feel like I should have a hat on. Although today is a good day to not wear a hat. The sun is shining, and I'm primarily inside working for today. So, with that, thank you for being with me today. So, we have a really interesting article to cover, and I'm going to comment on it for what I know, being here for almost half a century. I will comment on some of this article. So, this article I found in my email this morning in it's called, I'll tell you what it's called. Well, it goes from like town to town, but it's called Newsbreak. Okay. So, this particular article the title is called, it's pretty harsh title. It's actually says 14 brutal reasons why people are fleeing Vermont in 2026. So people have been fleeing Vermont. There's my finches if you want to see a little bit there. They've got the sun on them. And this is just my work table. So we'll put the camera over here. We will visit the finches soon. So they're enjoying the sun and their breakfast now. So anyway, with that, thank you for being with me. Jump on board and subscribe because I do share both the beautiful sun, happy things here in Vermont, and other things that are staples or things that are major going on in Vermont. So this definitely has been going on for a number of years, but it is coming to a head. The article is by Leo Heat, Heit, and it was a news break. Vermont, so, but the URL says wheninourState.com. So Vermont is a charming, scenic, and proudly independent kind of place people dream about escaping to. But in 2026, actually living the postcard life comes with some serious trade-offs. For many residents, the peace and beauty no longer make up the daily challenges. And I think that was kind of like a little slip on my part because yes, there have been many changes, and in my opinion, that have added to the difficulties in being in Vermont, unfortunately. So number one on the list, yes, and this is one of the changes. Housing is scarce and expensive. A limited inventory on second home demand have pushed prices far beyond what local wages support. I think part of that is people who used to be able to have their second homes here, and that's all they say on that part because the major headline is housing is scarce and expensive. So the only challenge I'm going to throw at that is there are plenty of houses out there, but if they're scooped up, they may not be rented at an affordable price. So it's saying and expensive. And when they talk about expensive, they're talking $2,000 to $3,000 range for apartments, typically, unless you seriously do not mind being on the outskirts, then you can get a lower price rent. And the reason is that on the outskirts, there's a number of factors, but the major factors are this. On the outskirts, families who have been here generations and own their houses and property outright, they're able to rent out and gain a little bit in the process. So if you know Vermont and you've been here, you get to know the little towns, just how adorable they are, what the benefits are, what your location is. So it is possible to find the lower rents. Now, when you talk about being, for example, if I was like in my 30s and, hi, Vincent. Hi, how are you this morning? And thank you for being here. Yeah, if I was in my 30s and in the prime of my career, I'd have to be closer, and which I was at that time. I'd have to be in like central Vermont or closer to Burlington or Montpelier, because there's lots of well, I don't know about lots anymore, but that's where businesses are. That's where the jobs are. So, but to be there today, you're talking about a teeny tiny little apartment, 2,500. And, these young families with children, they cannot do this, because then you're not even adding food. I'm a single little old lady and I'm paying on a budget and I still can't get from under 100 a week for food. Can you imagine for children? Hi, Saloa. Because you need your basic hygiene, for goodness sakes. I'm just throwing that in there. And yeah, no hygiene. I mean, yeah, that's what's happening. They said, people are living to the bare minimum, but that's been going on for years. Abuela sos mía, only you. I don't know if I'm interpreting that correctly, because I took many years of Spanish. Oh, thank you. I interpreted that. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that's number one. We've got 13 more to go. Thank you so much, Vicente, for subscribing, in Saloa. Hi guys, thanks for being here this morning. This is the shade in Vermont. I'm not crazy about this article, but I'm going to say it's super accurate and right on. So the next, number 2 on the list of why people are leaving Vermont, and the article doesn't say leaving, it says fleeing. That means leaving fast. Okay. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, I took 3 years of Spanish. And I loved it. I loved it. So now the second one is wages lag behind costs. And hi, Salone. Oh, thank you. What? That's a wonderful compliment. So the wages lag behind costs. Even professional jobs often don't pay enough to keep up with rising expenses. They don't. I went through a whole training program late in my life over at UVM, which is a huge UVM medical. It's a hospital, it's a college. You'd think and I went and I studied and studied and studied. And at the end of the course, guess how much I was getting an hour? $13.39, something like that. And then they told me at the end of the course, all the people who are ahead of you will be the people who get holidays off. They get days off first. You don't. All of those. So you're working every weekend, and you will not get a raise thank you, for some time. So $13.39, I couldn't do it. I think in the training I was getting actually a little more or something. Anyway, that's number 2. Wages lag behind costs. I don't know where, let me get my calculator, guys. Sorry about my table. I am in the middle of working. I'll get it neater. I'm an artist, so I need a surface area where I can work. So, let's just see, is this working? Let's just say you're getting $15 an hour for 40 hours a week, $600. So minus the taxes, which is like a third of that, So you get like $490 a week. Okay, 490. So you're getting about 1,960 a month. So let's minus for one person. Let's minus oops, I did that wrong. 1960. Okay, minus 400. Yeah, so just minus 400 a month for food, which is not even realistic at all. It's just not. You're not even adding gas to that. Let's minus 200 for gas for your transportation. So now you're down to 1,360. Okay, and yeah, this is a month. Okay, so any bills you might have, electricity, let's say minus 50. Healthcare, I didn't even take that out. Let's say minus like 50, that's crazy because it's not going to be minus 50. I didn't even get to the rent, guys, and I'm at 1,260. So let's minus your rent, which minimum is going to be 1,500 minimum. So now you're in negative 240. Must I go on? I mean, this is ridiculous. So no, it is it is a nightmare financially for people in Vermont. So, and I think all over the United States. I think this article can apply to a lot of different places. I'm going to say New Hampshire and Maine. But number 3, it says long, harsh winters wear people down. The months of cold, snow, and darkness take a mental and physical toll. And that is like totally true. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Vicente. Happy birthday. I hope you have a wonderful, happy birthday, and I hope all your wishes come true in your life journey today and on your life journey. So, yes, we should celebrate our life, even though I'm reading all the difficulties in life. And this is why I wrote 2 books. I wrote 2 books. I don't know if you guys even know that. I wrote 4 books. One is super duper short. It's called The Road to Damascus. All I do is describe on Kindle just a few pages, The Road to Damascus. And then I wrote The Bridge of Life 1, and I wrote Bridge of Life 2. Now, Bridge of Life 2 is, both of them are about our journey on life. Bridge of Life 2 is on Amazon. It's only $2.99. So I was happy I got it on Kindle and could get it that low, because I talk to you in a very metaphoric way about the hopeful ways of life and the deep mysteries of life and how we can get through it. So Bridge of Life 3 will be coming out soon. Maybe I'll use this article as a base. So the winters in Vermont, the past almost 10 years, the winters have seemed mild for those of us who know what the Vermont winters could be. Except for this winter. This winter is very much a Vermont winter, coming on full force. Although it did start in December, normally it would start in November, this type of winter. Snowstorm after snowstorm. What that propagated here in Vermont were people socializing, people helping each other, and people making sure they knew their neighbor. What has happened socially with the, like, I don't have to talk to type attitude neighbor, and I saw that in the apartments over near Burlington. You see a lot of that. The people move in and they feel like they don't need to even say hello to their neighbor. A harsh winters is what brought Vermonters together. That is where the culture of Vermont came from. Plus, Vermonters are very independent people, and it goes right back to Civil War. We're the first ones to stand up for people's rights. So there are some good things that come out of the harsh winters. But number 4, the heating costs are painful. The heating costs are painful. Keeping homes warm through Vermont winters can crush household budgets. So a lot of Vermonters, if they have a house, they try to have their wood stoves. I had 2 wood stoves in my house for over 20 years. It was physically demanding. I didn't, one of them I was trying to use pellets, but the other one I was using wood. Let me tell you something, it's exhausting. You do need to get chopped wood or chop it yourself. You need to fuel that, not just once a day or twice a day, but probably 4 times easily during a day. Because a full wood stove, it will go nicely for 3 hours, but then the next hour or so or 2, it will start simmering, and you need to keep it going, especially if it's 0 degrees. I know I did this for 20 years. Number 5, job opportunities are limited. Old Daniel. Danielle, I am a senior citizen. So, yeah, the lifting days are limited. Job opportunities are limited. Outside healthcare, education, and tourism, career options feel narrow. And now, for us artists who depend on the art and craft and the flea markets during the warm season, we were depending on the Canadians to come down. Oh, let me tell you, the Canadians fueled Vermont. Vermonters wait for the Canadians to come down. We usher them in. We say, hello, how are you? Welcome. We want to learn French, okay? So, no, seriously. And we know politically the chaos that has occurred there. So, God bless our country, because, you know, the more we get closed off, the more, this isn't just like opportunities in Vermont becoming limited, it is like all over the place. So, number 6, young people are leaving. Young people keep leaving. Graduates head to larger cities and rarely return, shrinking the workforce. Yeah, they don't return because they know how difficult it is here. So the graduates, you have primarily UVM, Trinity. Well, I went to Trinity, graduated from Trinity of Vermont. They are now, as I understand it, I think in an alliance and merger with St. Michael's, UVM, and Trinity. And I did go to St. Mike and UVM. I am not extremely happy about that whole merger, because Trinity had its own culture as it is. It was lovely. It was small, and the professors tended to your needs, and you got console on things that and I wasn't young. I was still working my way through college, raising my 3 little children, okay? And I did do it, but it was, and they helped you. Trinity was a wonderful one. It is a wonderful college. Number 7, healthcare access is a challenge. Rural distances and provider shortages make care harder to reach. So when you get to, so there's a couple things I want to comment on that and rent. A senior citizen like me, I feel very blessed right now that I have a little apartment on the outskirts of the cities and I can afford. Because if I go into, what do you call it, the senior housing, they take like most of your Social Security. I know because I've asked. Most of it. Like, what is going on? And you know what I mean? Like, what is going on? So, so if you're trying to remain independent, and something occurs, which it does at some point when you're a senior citizen, especially. Not that it can't occur when you're younger, because it certainly can. Accidents happen, health happens. But what on earth, wherever you're living, the home care providers are less and less and less to get to your home to help you. And this was an industry that I was in predominantly through the end of my career. And when you live out up on a hill or dirt road in Vermont and you've got a winter like this, nobody's getting up there. I'm telling you right now, they're not getting up there. They're not going to get up there for, you want to say minimum 24 hours. It could be 48, 36, 72, depending on if that road is cleared with some urgency. The back roads are the last to get cleared. They just are. They can't get up those roads. Okay, number 8, the reasons people are leaving, the brutal reasons people are leaving Vermont. Isolation feels real. Long drives and limited flights make travel inconvenient and expensive. So, some of you may know who have followed me. I had moved up to the Northeast Kingdom for after being in one place for so long. I moved up to the Northeast Kingdom for more affordable living. Well, it wasn't more affordable because it was more difficult to get to. Hi, Jason. Well, thank you. Welcome, Jason. I had lived there. I had traveled 2.5 hours easy to get to wherever it was I was going to go. And I started to get nervous, not because of the travel time, but because of the weather and the distance and the inclement weather. Um, thank you, thank you. The inclement weather would maybe possibly put me on the side of the road somewhere, and you're not going to be seen on some of these back roads when you travel that distance, especially through the night. People may not just come through. So, and you better hope your cell phone works. So yes, isolation. And the other thing about that is when you're up in the rural areas, sometimes either you're renting a house or renting a room in a house, you may not see people around like on the outside of the house because it's all land. So depending where you are, it can feel very, very lonely. This is a very real issue. So I noticed it very quickly, the isolation in the Northeast Kingdom. It is very real and very difficult because the weather, it will snow you right in. Maybe you can't move your car, maybe you can't get out. So yeah, I moved back to civilization. In my book, what's civilization? It's just people around out there where I can hear cars. I'm a senior citizen. I'm old, Jason. Okay, number 9, internet and cell service log. Reliable broadband is still inconsistent in many rural areas. Yes, before you come out, before you buy your house, before you rent, ask the landlord. Even call Xfinity or whoever your provider is, AT&T, Verizon, whoever you're using. Do you have service out on this address? And they will tell you right away. Make sure you have the address in detail because they need to know if it's a street, a road, a highway, a logging road, a byway, whatever. I'm not even kidding. Number 10, small town in, now I don't know what this is here. I do know what this is. Small town insularity. Have you heard of that word? Insularity. So I know what it means. Here we go. Tight-knit communities can feel hard to break into for newcomers. And that, in my opinion, today is such a farce, but it is so ridiculously real. And it's like I say to people, are you for real? When they make it difficult for others, they want to say how long they've been here. Now, my personality, and I run into this almost every time I go out, and if I end up talking to someone, they immediately think I just moved to Vermont. I've been here almost 50 years. Plus I'm native. My roots, my blood is Native American. I'm a half breed. So I'm actually part of the earth of Vermont. And when they pull that on me, and that is how you know there's some difficulty breaking in. And I hate to say it like that. And it's a very sad social thing, but it does occur. They make it difficult for a newcomer. That is so wrong. Now, I'm going to tell you, 50 years ago, the subcultures that I knew, they didn't do that. They did not do that. They were very clearly here for generations, but they wanted to be your friend. And they knew if they didn't befriend you, you're going to be stuck in a snowbank. So they started to teach you the different ways of Vermont and how to survive a country, being in the country. Now, many people come here are very used to being in the country. I have a friend who actually lived on a mountain, and her family came here, and she was made to feel that she was new to what it was to be on a mountain. And was called, and you'll hear this name throughout Vermont, she was called a flatlander. And she was anything but a flatlander. All she did was live in mountains. So if somebody, starts that with you, just cut them off. Let them know that you're new. You may be new to the location in Vermont, but you weren't born yesterday. And that's a big cliche in Vermont. But I would say that these tight-knit communities that make it difficult for you to feel like this is your home or your new home are are not as many as there used to be. But this article is saying that this makes it so people don't even want to be here. But when you move into a community, I would say, because I have a lot of friends in Vermont, a lot of friends. I have people who are I consider my friend. They check in on me, they talk to me, they're kind to me. Um, these are many, I would say, outweigh the people who don't make you feel comfortable. The goodness outweighs that. But that they put as number 10 is a significant reason people are fleeing. When you're in a place like this in Vermont and your car breaks down and you don't feel that your neighbors are, let's put it this way, have good intention towards you, you're not going to stay. You're going to leave. And now, should these people leave Vermont? No. You can just find more amicable community by getting to a place that has more people. I'm serious. That's the key. Okay. And there's plenty of towns here like that. Number 11. So anyway, I kind of went out on a limb there. So I don't like to offend anyone. So hopefully no one would be offended by that. I'll find out, I guess. Number 11, limited nightlife and culture. For younger residents, entertainment options can feel thin. So let me tell you, for older residents, it can feel thin too. There is no nightlife here. There should be a band, um, at least on the weekends during the day. Years, I would say about 40, 50 years ago, you could drive through Vermont, go to a cafe during the day, and there'd be somebody sitting there playing their guitar. That should still be happening, and it's not. Like they should just, and a lot of the reason is the insurance companies make these little cafes and these little restaurants feel like they have such huge liability that they can't even do that. They should do that. But I think people should just go there and just start playing their guitar and have a cup of coffee because it's lovely to walk in. Now, for nightlife, there is no nightlife. There's there's the comedy club, which I totally love. But when I would go down to Burlington to the comedy club, I was always a nervous wreck about walking on the street 11 o'clock or midnight after watching the comedy club and the comedy show. And there were no cops walking the beat. So there's a lot that has changed, okay? So safety is the reason probably why we're not seeing nightlife, and the culture is really struggling to stay. You've got Pine Street in Burlington. Oh man, that just the farmers market has made it so difficult to be part of the farmers market. It's ridiculous. As you know, a lot of you know, about 40 years ago, I had my kids on my hips and I would go down to the farmer's market and sell fried dough and my artwork. And I could just go down and set up every Saturday and pay them. Now they want you to fill this out and that out and have insurance and have an EIN and this and that and this. No, 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 no. You know what? We need to cut the red tape and just let people go down there and set up because it's critical. Today, people need to make a few bucks to get through the week. And we have homelessness, over 4,000 people in Vermont. So I say let people start setting up, let them sing on the streets. Don't tell them they need to pay $2,000, $3,000 to sing a song and get a donation. I mean, come on now. So yeah, nightlife and culture is just squished right down to the core. Number 12, flooding and extreme weather. Heavy rains and infrastructure strain and are becoming more disruptive. So yes, but for the past several years, Vermont has been working diligently to upgrade the infrastructure or the geo infrastructure. Now, I know that for a fact. All of Vermont was flooding a number of years ago because the water table rose. I suspected that. I'm not even a scientist, but I looked it up and did some research and it did. It rose. So a lot of Vermont is working, a lot of these towns are very aware of it and they're working on to correct the infrastructure as much as possible. But yes, there's definitely an increase in the flooding. There's no doubt about it. Remote work changed the equation. Once people could live anywhere, enduring Vermont winters felt optional. What this is saying, I'm going to read this again. It said once people could live anywhere, enduring Vermont winters, and that was an option. So remote work increased when we had the pandemic. So 2021, 22, 23. Now we're into 2026 and they're being told, well, come on now, you got to get to work. You got to get to our physical place of work so we can work as a team, we can talk, we can communicate, we can, be more effective. Let me tell you something about the remote work. People stopped picking up their phones. I know because I called a number of places during that time. They were not even responding to emails. They were working at home and they were not responding to emails or picking up the phone. There were others working diligently from home, yes. But this definitely changed the equation. Some for the positive, a lot on the negative. Number 14, loving Vermont isn't always enough. Many people don't leave because they want to. They leave because staying feels unsustainable. Vermont isn't being abandoned, but in 2026, it's losing residents for reasons that quietly stack up. The beauty, the values, the sense of community remain, but so do the costs and the isolation. For many, leaving Vermont isn't rejection. It's about choosing a future that feels easier to manage. I want to add one more thing to this. The isolation, this thing that they have, there's something that's been embedded in the community, society, that says don't talk to that one. For many reasons, from political to, which breaks my heart because it totally ignores the humanity of us as a people being here for each other. So that breaks my heart to see that. And that is very real. I still talk to people. I do. I say hi to, I just, I do not say hi like I did maybe 10 years ago because I notice people just will look the other way. So I'm very careful about to read, people and just maybe quietly give a nod. I am not going to forsake who I am for the political climate, you might say, because I do care about people. And that's just my personality in general. So, anyway, I thought that was a very, this article, I want to say, let me see who wrote this again. Lee Heat, H-E-I-T. Thank you, Lee. Because this article is the elephant in the room. It is. We've got thousands who are homeless in Vermont. And many of these reasons I listed might be listed as 8, 9, 10 on the list, but maybe a major reason that you or someone you know is leaving or has left Vermont or just can't sustain. So anyway, I thought I'd come on today and share this before I start my day. And so this is it was on Newsbreak, but this is the name of I guess the place that it is, whenininyourstate.com. I just want to see something before we go. So Vermont, just to let you know, oh wow, I thought it was that. So this summer when I was looking up how many people were homeless in Vermont, many senior citizens, by the way, sleeping in their cars if the car is still working. As of June, as of June 2025, at least 4,588, so it's getting up close to 5,000 Vermonters, including more than 1,000 children and 269 seniors. So at the time I was looking at the statistics, it was over 500 seniors and are currently experiencing homelessness. Disturbingly, More than 3/4 of unhoused Vermonters have been without permanent housing for over 3 months, and nearly 1/3 have been unhoused for a year, over a year. Okay, so with that, I just wanted to share that. If you are, let's look up one more thing and end it this way. If you are experiencing problems um, with homelessness, or you're afraid of it occurring, um, let me get a place here. Homeless services. Okay. It says to call 211 for a shelter near you. That's emergency housing in Vermont, 211. Benefit services are 1-800, and this is a Barry number, I believe, but it's Vermont. It's in Vermont. 1-800-479-6151. I do know they're working more harder on trying to get benefits and help to people before anything catastrophic occurs. So another program is it's Pathways in South Burlington. You know, I am going to call some of these numbers into this next week, and I'm going to talk with them and see if I can get maybe a little interview or at least some information for the Vermonters who are struggling. Now, so this is Pathways, and the number is 888-492-8218. That is in South Burlington. So I do know the governor is very concerned about this. So hopefully that will help a little bit. Or if you know someone, get these numbers and, call the number for them if they need help. Because when you're in that situation, you're in a panic. It's life changing. It's very difficult. It's very scary. So with that, I send you love and light. Have a good day, everyone.